So we do actually have news. It took a little while. We were all sitting around in Nashville waiting for something to happen, and the big shoe dropped last night. Yes, it was made official, and you can call it a blockbuster when 7 players are used in a deal between 2 postseason caliber teams. Juan Soto, the big fish, landed by the Yankees, rumored for a few days, and the 2 sides get together and exchange 7 names, a 7-player deal, adding to an already crowded Yankee outfield with one of the more elite talents in our sport. This is the way it looks. Juan Soto and Trent Grisham, don't sleep on the throw-in player, if you could call him that, going to the Bronx in exchange for a huge crop of pitching talent that includes Drew Thorpe, really interesting prospect who led all of minor league baseball in strikeouts. Kyle Higashioka, veteran catcher, Southern California native. He's got another year left on his current deal. He's going to San Diego. Give me your first thoughts on this one.
When you start to think about what the Yankees were able to pull off, they addressed the needs of their team. And that's why championships are won in the offseason. When you look at blockbuster deals like this, the Yankees are able to get a premier hitter, add him to a lineup that really struggled, not only with power, but also with discipline. And when you start to think about Juan Soto, that's exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get a consistent at-bat. And when you start to think about Juan Soto and his skill sets and how it's going to play in that ballpark, you're talking about one of the most complete hitters in all of baseball. He has the ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark to all fields. He can cover the inner third of the plate while at the same time drive the ball out of the ballpark to left field. When you start to think about just the strain that he's going to put on the opposing pitchers, it's going to make everybody in this lineup just that much better because of his presence and his ability to work counts and get deep into counts and his ability to drive in runs. When you think about a run producer, it's those quality at-bats where he basically wears the pitcher out to where they start to make mistakes to other guys in the lineup.
You know, the interesting part of this for me is that Soto had taken, apparently was reported to have said no to a $450 million-ish extension when he was with the Nationals. They trade him to San Diego for a big haul. Then he's traded to New York for a big haul. Do you think the Yankees make this trade if they're not 100% confident that they can retain him and sign him to a long-term deal?
I think the Yankees made this trade because it made sense for them today. Whether it's going to make sense for them moving forward, when you look at what Juan Soto has already turned down, you already have Aaron Judge, and he's locked up for a long-term deal. When you start to think about locking up another player at the age in which Juan Soto is, you have to ask yourself the question, will both of these players be able to continue to defend later on in this contract, or will both of them have to transition and be a DH? So that's a question that the Yankees are definitely going to have to look at.
It's interesting, too, because DH is a little clogged over there with Giancarlo's money. I mean, that salary ain't going anywhere.
No, it's not going anywhere for the next 3 years when you look at Giancarlo Stanton, his contract. But you know that Juan Soto and Aaron Judge, they're going to be able to play defense every day for the next 3 years.
Let's focus on what the Padres got because, you know, here in New York, it's all of this, right? It's most wonderful time of the year. All these cheeky tabloids, right? He's the one. I like all of it. I endorse all that stuff. But in San Diego, I think they're spinning it the other way. And I honestly really like what the Padres did here. They traded a player who they were not going to keep beyond 1 more year. It was clear that they had to make a move. And credit San Diego for addressing a need. No fewer than 4 pitchers, 2 of which, Bo, are top 20 prospects in the Yankee system.
When you look at what A.J. Preller and his staff was able to pull off, yes, they gave up a haul to get Juan Soto, but they also received the haul when they got ready to trade Juan Soto. Yeah. That's why the deal made sense. There's sometimes where you make trades and you look at it and you go, okay, this side won or that side won. To me, this is a win-win for both organizations when you look at San Diego knowing that they're not going to sign Juan Soto long-term. And that's why when you have these players that are entering that last year, I am a firm believer trading them in the offseason, it gives you the greatest opportunity to actually get the best package that you can receive in return because the pool is bigger. And I think both of these teams won here because San Diego addressed their need for pitching and the Yankees got exactly what they needed, power and discipline.
Anticipating perhaps that the reigning National League Cy Young Award winner Blake Snell might be moving on. Maybe Michael Wacha moves on. Musgrove and Darvish return. And Michael King, who's the headliner in that pitching hall, probably slips into that number 3 spot. He has not had a chance to start every day in his career, right, every 5 days. But he's got really good numbers. And he's the guy that I think, of course, your eyes go to first because we know the name. He's been in the big leagues before. He's going to be a very nice fit in San Diego as well.
It's a nice fit. When he moved from the bullpen into the rotation, I mean, it was a bright spot for the Yankees at that time. They had a lot of injuries, and he was able to fill that void and gave them quality start after quality start.
Yeah, the Padres do pretty well in this trade, and it's the big one. There was another big acquisition yesterday as well, and that's filling a need, too. Arizona Diamondbacks were out there looking for pitching. We talked to them about it in Nashville, and they fill a slot with Eduardo Rodriguez, 4 for $80. I think this is a pretty interesting deal. There are a lot of people looking at this. They guessed that Rodriguez was going to go for maybe something a little higher AAV-wise. He does very well for himself, right? There were years remaining on his Detroit deal. He exercised his opt-out coming off a 13-win season in which he was very good, and that was after a lost year in 2022 where he really didn't pitch much. Rodriguez to the Diamondbacks. Give me your thoughts on that one.
Anytime Brent Strom, who's the pitching coach in Arizona, anytime Arizona is on a pitcher, I say this just because I know Brent Strom and I know the length in which he go through to evaluate pitchers. This is a great sign. When you think about what Brent Strom and the Arizona Diamondbacks, the value in which they place on pitching and how they're able to get the most out of players. When you look at the Diamondbacks making that run that they went on last year to get to the World Series, this is a rotation piece that they felt like when you think about having an opener start a game, this is that next piece that they believe can get them back to the World Series.
Gallen, Erod, and Kelly now makes out, for me, one of the best front threes, if not the best front three in the division. We know the Dodgers are going to add. It's pretty clear, right?
Yes.
San Diego did very well adding King, but the Diamondbacks needed another starting arm. And we talked to Mike Hazen at the winter meetings, right? And he told us, you know, in Game 4 of the division series against the Phillies, we knew we were up against it. We had to bullpen it. We came out on top. We didn't know if we were going to have that same kind of lightning in a bottle success when we had to bullpen Game 4 of the World Series, and they didn't. So they knew they were smoke and mirrors in the postseason, and they really shored things up with this.
That's why it's so important when you head into the offseason to really identify your ball club and address your needs.
Yeah.
You don't want to go from one year to the next where you're actually having the same issue that you had the previous year when you had an opportunity to address it. Arizona was able to address a need, and they did it in a fashion in which they got a really good starter.